Linder in the house. It is Executive Director MDOT, Brad White. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you. It's been a busy summer, I know.
It has been.
I saw some things yesterday on one of the roads that I was traversing, and how the pavement just buckles this time of the year.
Yeah, heat does.
And I mean, out of nowhere. I mean, that's just Mississippi heat.
Heat does a lot of unfun things to asphalt. We had that.
It does. It really, really does. Places. I don't know where to start here. Let's start with some of the things that are going on as far as some of the money rolling in. But and by the way, the big news was that Highway 49 when Willie was on with us the other day.
Yeah, I think they've set a date on August 8th to cut a ribbon for it. We still had a few paving and a few things to be done down in Florence at the time Commissioner Simmons was on, but by and large, the lanes of traffic have been open for the last few weeks from Berry's north, and now that southern end will be wrapping up, and so hopefully we'll be getting rid of all the orange barrels in that area.
I hope so. Anybody have any questions as far as the highway is concerned, you know that we are always available to you directly on our C-Spire text line at 601-879-4395 with the Executive Director of MDOT. You know, you and I were talking about, when you were on a couple of times before, a master overall plan that has to happen to just reach out to the future. Where does that stand?
We have a 3-year plan. By statute, MDOT has to develop a 3-year plan that's submitted to the legislature that covers all of the 4 rehabilitation or paving programs, as well as has our, now that we've started back doing capacity projects that will indicate where the money will be spent there, and it shows where all the data says the money needs to be spent across the state, where we've scheduled it to go, and it's updated every year and submitted to the legislature.
So, so this year, that plan is already in effect.
That plan's in effect. And the good thing about our paving is we work hand in glove with the Federal Highway Administration and going around, and a lot of that is data-driven. I mean, they scientifically inspect pavement and look at the needs around the state, and are able to determine where the resources are better spent, because sometimes you can't tell just by the naked eye of where you need to put the money to take care of needs before you have a real problem. So it's amended and updated every year. But, yeah, we have a 3-year plan that kind of gives us a projection of where we want to go. Last year we were able to end the 10-year moratorium, more or less, on the capacity projects and add about another $125 million worth of capacity projects a year and resources to go to do the pre-engineering and starting those back up. The legislature gave us another $35 million to help assist with that particular program, so the commission will be amending the plan here in the next month to add other projects from DeSoto County down to South Mississippi, the Delta, over to Lauderdale County. Yeah. There will be other construction projects that will help add more efficiency to our system. So we've got a lot.
Commissioner Simmons was talking about the amount of money that's in some of the best that we've had in a long, long time, and to make sure it's utilized the right way. Is most of that in the works now? Has most of that reached us, or some of it just promised?
The fiscal year that we've just began, our new budget for this year will be $1.426 billion, which is as high of a budget as we've had. That's due to the money the legislature gave us and one-time funds to help. I think the thought was to hopefully accelerate some of our maintenance programs and capacity programs due to inflation and stuff. It's going to help us stay on track. But will widely be eaten up with construction costs, materials costs, all of the other things that everybody in the economy are dealing with. But also the federal dollars. We received more money. I think our 5-year authorization from Federal Highway went from $2.6 billion to $3.6 billion. So that'll be over 5 years, of course, but it would allow us to increase our budget and allow us to go a little further, intending to the needs around the state. And it is primarily why we were able to go back to doing capacity projects, to start doing things that helps add to the efficiency of the system. So it's going to be very helpful.
You and I have talked for a long time in many different positions. I know you're an efficiency type of guy. You've been in that position now for a while. What's been the biggest headache to get your hands around?
Probably outdoor advertising, to be honest with you, more so than anything.
I didn't expect that.
The highways, I mean, it's kind of a booger to have to deal with. But
why is that?
Just all the different federal regulations and the competitive nature of it, and I don't enjoy having to deal with it. But
we're not talking about billboards. We're talking about on the official signs.
No, I'm talking about billboards.
At the next exit.
I'm talking about billboards, outdoor advertising, things like that. That to me has been the biggest pain, for lack of a better word.
So wait a minute, because this is an area that we're not familiar with. They have to come through the highway department if they're how many feet away from the highways?
Oh, we've got a whole division of people that deal with that. I would mess up if I started quoting the word.
Didn't realize that.
It's a lot of regulation that goes to it, and it's a lot of it's a competitive business, and so it's.
So you actually have almost an advertising agency within the department to do that.
Yeah, to carry out and be sure that we're enforcing federal regs. We sure do.
Do we make money on that?
We get some, I think, but it's nothing compared to what we've
not
got
worth
in our
the headache.
budget. No.
Yeah. Didn't realize it. That's on the interstate and all roads then.
Well, interstate, yeah.
Oh, the interstate.
And anything on the federal system that we'd have. You've got some local roads that are like that.
You threw me a loop on that one. I didn't think that was it. Well, number two would be what?
Well, I mean, I don't know. You know, our staff does a really good job. Just in the first 12 months I was there, we worked really hard, or staff worked really hard at the district level and there in the Jackson Administrative Office to get our contracts out, to get the work to the streets. And we had a record year. They were able to the commission awarded over $964 million worth of contracts. That's 80% higher than the previous 5-year average. And that will account for about, if you're comparing it to what our budget was for that same time frame, it's about 75% of the budget. And that'll be paid out in years to come. But we've got a good team of people that know what they're doing, and they've really done a good job, I think, in putting the work out. And with the extra money, you know, we'll be working to try to keep up with that and to do that. With that comes hassles, you know. There's more orange barrels are going to be popping up all over the place. Yeah. But we've got plenty of needs out there to be addressed.
Where do you store those orange barrels?
I don't know that we have a real place that they're stored, because I think we keep them pretty well used all around the state.
Good. I was going to say, how many, if you're in the business of, and I have no idea, I'm asking you some stupid things this morning, I'm sorry, but what does the cost of one orange barrel?
You know, I don't know, but you may remember this. Years ago when I worked for Commissioner Hall, when MDOT built the old Agency Road interchange there in 55.
Yeah.
And it was a real pain, you know, for traffic. All the people coming through there, and the barrels were there, and we were getting all these complaints from it. So when the project was completed, our public affairs division at the time suggested, well, why don't we do something that's similar to what they had seen in other states, and we'll have a barrel bashing. And instead of cutting a ribbon, we'll let the dignitaries and all show up, and we'll bring the damaged old barrels that we're about to throw out and let them bash the barrel. And I think there were a lot of people that were pretty protective of those barrels that we were not expecting, that didn't like that. So.
Yeah. Well, I have no idea what they are, but then you start looking at it. I'll never forget going to I-55, one of the trips to St. Louis, and we drove up, and I was on 55 through Arkansas is a desolate. I mean, that's a terrible drive, but they had signs out there every quarter mile, and I thought, what politician did this? Why do we need an official state sign, not only a mile or half-mile marker? We have the mile marker, but they had every quarter mile marker, and I thought somebody made some money off this, because I remember talking with Dick Hall many years ago, and we were talking about the cost of just one sign. They're not